Today we are starting up with a topic called quality management. Quality. So we have heard this word a lot, quality management. Right. What makes something a quality product, quality service? Right. Do we know the meaning of quality? How much ever we use that? Quality. Okay. So quality has dimensions. Right. Quality has measures. So when it comes to manufacturing organizations, we last week discussed about Porter's value chain. We discussed about and we looked at macro level of an organization, right? We had support activities, primary activities, so many things we saw. Now, today's context is quality management. Take down quality management. Quality, okay? There's a definition. Take down. A subjective term, sorry, quality as a subjective term, quality as a subjective term for which each person has his or her own definition. Quality as a subjective term for which each person has his or her own definition. American Society for Quality has defined American Society for Quality has defined like this. Take down like this. In technical usage, quality can have two meanings. In technical usage, quality can have two meanings. First one is the characteristics of a product or service. Characteristics of product or service that they bear on its ability, to satisfy stated or implied needs. Stated or implied needs. What do you mean by stated? It is clearly mentioned. Implied, not mentioned, but it is there. For example, water bottled in a water. It should be drinkable. It is implied. Somebody should not state, no? Somebody should not mention the water is set for sale is drinkable. Implied term. Okay. So second one is a product or service free of deficiencies. Right? Deficiencies. Okay. So number one, characteristics of a product or service that bear the ability to satisfy stated or implied needs. Number two, a product free of deficiencies. Implied and stated needs. Number two, okay, free of deficiencies. No defects. Okay. So the term quality can be defined in too many ways, right? So this is how ASQ, American Society for Quality, has defined it. It can have two meanings. Okay. So, but the the perspective for quality might be different. Perspective. Sometimes the customer sees quality from a different angle, and also manufacturer can also see quality as from a different angle. Take down. Customers' perspective for quality. Customers' perspective for quality. Customers' perspective for quality. Right. So we don't have to much go in detail about the customer's perspective of quality, but we can simply say you need some quality. Okay, you have a mobile phone with you. What are the qualities you aspire to get from a mobile phone? You should be able to take a mobile call, and you should be able to send a call. You should be able to answer a call. You should be able to send a text message. You should be able to use internet, which was not a requirement some time back, but now internet is also a commodity, okay, on the mobile phone. And yes, what else you require? So when you use the mobile phone, if it is getting warmer and warm, right, it is violating a quality rule, quality standard. So it should be it should be comfortable enough for you, right, for you to use the mobile phone. Quality. When you use packeted bread, sliced bread, so what happened if you use a sliced bread, packeted bread, after the expiry date? The quality has gone down. Okay, you can't eat. The taste has different. The taste has changed, and so many deficiencies you can see. So then that when the product is after the expiry date, you observe deficiencies. You observe deficiencies, and some characteristics are not. You cannot easily chew. The bread, it is not up to the expected quality, so it is not. You cannot easily chew and swallow the bread. Okay, and also, and so the gasoline is not rightly purified. You cannot use it for your automobile vehicle. Okay, so it will create some malfunctions in your engine. Okay, quality is a key factor. Quality is a key factor. Okay, so the quality is applicable for both services and products. Okay, but your examiner will test you on this. Take down a small subheading under quality from customer's perspective. Dimensions of quality for manufactured products. Dimensions of quality for manufactured products. Dimensions of quality for manufactured products. So we will take down one by one. Number one, performance. Performance. Number one, performance. Number two, features. Your product has very good performance. Okay, it delivers the expected performance. Number two, features. What features it has? Okay, next one, reliability. Reliability. The product has so many features, right? So for example, if somebody is trying to sell you a mobile phone, you ask, what are the features? Then the reliability. Are you getting the product? The person who is trying to sell you is a reliable source. Next one, conformance. Conformance, C-O-N-F-O-R-M-A-N-C-E, conformance. Conformity. What do you mean conformity? Right? So it should have prescribed standards. Pre-described standards. So this product should be in this standard once produced. Right? Has it reached that standard? Has it reached that standard? So that is conformance to the standards. Conformance. Next one, durability. Can the product be used for a longer period? Durability. So, but you cannot expect a loaf of bread to be used for 1 month now, right? Its durability is 1 or 2 days, specified date, stated date. So, on that date, that will be expired. Durability. So, within that stated period, can it be used? Durable. Okay. Serviceability. Serviceability. The ease of getting repairs and speed of repairs and courtesy. Right. For example, motorcycles are sold. Electrical appliances are sold. I will share one of my experience with you. And Damro, when they make a sale, right, after sale service is superb. They have stated their number, service number. If something is wrong with the Damro washing machine, television, right, refrigerator, what you have to do is just give a call. They will call over at your place and repair the product. Okay. Serviceability. After sale service, service. What do you mean by before the sale service? So, making available for you to see the product. That is also before the sale service. Okay. Why in Sri Lanka some unheard new brands not getting popular? Right. For example, we'll assume the one company tries to introduce a television to the market. People don't buy because now you can use the television. That's right. Though all the features and the other facilities are there, people don't buy. Why? Repair services, spare parts, especially when it comes to vehicles, you consider about the spare parts. Yes, you can buy Volkswagen Passat. You can buy Fiat. So you don't see Fiat cars in Sri Lanka much. Why? Fiat car is a European car, one of the best quality vehicle in Europe. But people in Sri Lanka, we don't like Fiat. Why? We don't use Fiat because no spare parts freely available. Right? Okay. Then aesthetics. Right? Aesthetics means how the product looks, how you feel it, and how it smells, and how it tastes. Okay. All these are aesthetics of the product. So, for example, it has a different shape. Oval but curved shape. It is not 100% oval but curved shape. People like it. Aesthetic features. Next one, safety. Safety. When you use the product, is it safe? So now the time has come for us to be conscious about the safety. Right? You're wearing a mask. Right, you do this and that thing to prevent yourself from coronavirus. Safety. So you cannot, not that you cannot, you can walk on the road without a mask, but then you are exposed to risk. Okay, safety is one dimension of quality. Right, so by using the product, it is assured that customer will not get injured, and customer will not experience any kind of a harm from using that product. Okay, safety. The last dimension is other perceptions. I hope you have taken down the dimensions of quality for manufactured products. Number 1, performance. Number 2, features. Number 3, reliability. Number 4, conformance. Number 5, durability. Serviceability. Aesthetics, aesthetics, aesthetics. Safety. The last one, other perceptions. What do you mean by other perceptions? Right. Other perceptions. Other perceptions. It is a kind of a quality. So you might see a Levi's brand a Levi's brand is available at PETA. Right? How do you perceive that? The quality brand that Levi's product gives will not available there. Okay? But that can also be consumed. Reebok, the pair of shoes, available at Peta. You can buy it for just less than 4,000 rupees, but it is not the quality that expect with the product with the expected level of quality. Right? Other perceptions. It's another quality. Whether the expected quality is provided by the brand. Right? Other perceptions. The brand name bears a lot. Brand name means a lot. Okay? Right. And also we discussed about the dimensions of quality for manufactured products. Right. Now we will discuss about the takedown. Dimensions of quality for manufactured services. Dimensions of quality for manufactured services. For manufactured services. Take this down. Right. Earlier, the dimensions of quality was easy to see for manufactured products because the products are tangible. You can see the products. But services are not tangible. Hope you can remember when we design service processes under business operations, the services are intangible, service output is variable, services have higher customer contact, services are perishable, the service and the service delivery are inseparable. Likewise, some qualities were there, some characteristics were there. Okay, so dimensions of quality for manufactured services. Right. Quality. What if the service is not provided at the right time? Customer comes to a hospital, right? Customer comes to a hospital. He needs blood. He needs blood, and the first aid is given. He needs blood. So if the doctors and the nurses are running behind getting blood instead of providing him the first aid, what will happen? When the blood is found, the patient would be dead and gone. Okay. Time and timeliness. Number one, time and timeliness. Time and timeliness. Time and timeliness. Right. So time and timeliness. How long must a customer to get the service? How long must a customer to get the service done? Okay, time and timeliness. So you can take a small note as well if it is necessary, but the examiner might not ask much. Number two, completeness. Services completeness. What if the call center service provider, when you ask questions, for example, you call Dialog to inquire about your detailed bill. Halfway through, the line gets disconnected. Okay, so what will happen? So we'll have to again call, right? Completeness. There's a problem with the completeness, right? Sometimes the call center agent has purposely or unintentionally cut the line. It is some sort of some sign of not being complete. So completeness is also very important when it comes to services. Completeness. We take the previous. Right. A patient needed first aid. A patient needed first aid. Right. He was given the first aid, but not provided the blood required. Completeness. So he can live little longer with the first aid, but again he will die of because of the deprivation of blood. He needs blood. Completeness. Courtesy. Next one is courtesy. It's very important. Okay. Courtesy. How pleasant you are to the customer. Courtesy. How pleasant. If you forget to say good morning, good evening, right? Can I help you, sir? All this. to a customer, it's a problem with courtesy. You can never be, as a business provider, rude to a customer. You cannot never be rude to a customer. It's about courtesy. So courtesy is not expected when the product is manufactured at the manufacturing plant. Courtesy, right? What do you mean? So the production manager and both, they bow little bow and greet others and do the manufacturing. That is not necessary. But when it comes to service, it is courtesy. Number 3 is courtesy. Next one is consistency. Consistent. So your service may not be changed from one customer to another. You might have your personal problems, but the customer does not know, right? So the energy you have in your voice might little gone down when you answer the next call. I have a personal experience. I have seen some call center services. They answer calls nearly 500, 600 calls a day. So much of a stress, because every person has a problem. Those who call the call center agent, they are coming out with a problem, handling problems. Think about 600 problems a day. 600 problems a day. So the person who is behind the screen is a human being. Okay. So consistency is very important when it comes to customer service. When you provide a customer service, consistency is needed. Unchanged, same level of service. Next one is accessibility and convenience. Accessible and convenience. Can the people straight away come to you? So if you try to get the service of for example, mobile network provider, okay, so you try to contact them. How much ever you try, right? Agents are busy. The recorded voice, agents are busy. Not accessible. Okay. So the convenient. So why not you, for example, yesterday I went to Sampath Bank. I wanted to check my credit card balance. So what I normally do is, as a human being, I forget my password for internet access. Okay. So I have forgotten my password. So it's a mistake, right? So you can't say you have forgotten the password of internet banking. But I went to the bank, right? So I went to 2 other banks and said, I want to check my credit card balance. They said, they went to the computer and they said one by one, they said one by one, this is you have to do, this is you have to do. And this is what you have paid, and this is what you have to pay, all that. But when I went to Sampath Bank, somebody said, sir, just dial this number. He gave me a number. I dialed. I said, so you want me to call this number and get the details? No. He said, just dial this number. I dialed. A detailed SMS I received. Thing is done. I didn't disturb much the service provider. And the service provider has made it easy for me as well. Okay. Accessible and convenient. Next one, accuracy. Right? Some people mispronounce it. Accuracy. So there's nothing called accuracy. It is accuracy. Right? Accurate. So accuracy. It is service performed right every time. Is the service performed right every time? Accurate service is provided or accurate service is provided? Right? Accurate service is provided. Okay. So when you call, right, when you drop into a grocer and ask, it is the responsibility of the grocer according to the Consumer Act. So you ask about some product. Okay. We'll assume it's about a new noodles. So you ask whether it's available. He said, yes, it is available. So then you ask about the brand. He lists down. He lists so many brands of noodles, and but you are not quite sure, right? Is the right required noodles available? So what you do is you go further and ask the size of the brand, so the size of the packet, the color of the packaging, all that you ask. Okay, so then the grocer gets furious. Okay, he says, okay, Right, why don't you stay a little? Okay, there. You will have to wait a little. This is done when so I want to attend to the other customers as well. So once it is done, I will come to you. You can't say like that. Okay? You can't say like that. Accuracy is important because the moment you get accurate information, you will buy the product. Okay? So you can't say it is printed in the packet. Just read it. What if he doesn't have the literacy level to read it and understand? Yeah. So we don't know the right law and law and order in Sri Lanka, right? So it is the responsibility. Anybody does not understand, it is your responsibility to just read it and make it understandable to the consumer. Yeah, you can't just merely sell products. Okay. Next one, responsiveness. Right? You can't just keep quiet and stay unresponsive. You should respond. Right? You should respond. Okay, but politely. You should also exercise courtesy and be responsive. Customer asks sometimes. Customer sometimes. So this is something new. This is regarding the body language. Body language is a program I do, and I train. It is a topic I train on the corporate people in the business. Right. Customer may not express a single word. But by looking at you, he passes so many hundreds of messages to you. If you are not able to absorb the messages passed by their body language, you are not a right service provider. You are not a right service provider. Okay, you should be able to read their body language and you should be responsive. Yes, sir, can I help you? Yes, like that. You should be responsive enough. Okay, so customer is just waiting. So if you ignore him, that is wrong. Okay, as a service provider, you should be responsive, right? Although the customer does not speak. Okay, so those are the dimensions of quality for manufactured services. So examiner might ask questions from this as well, right? Okay, so we will put a deep thought about these two types of dimensions, right? About the quality. We are moving on to another topic, right? So we were discussing about the quality perspective of products, quality perspective of services, right? Next perspective is by the perspective only by the customer is enough. What about the perspective of the producer? Producer's perspective, right? So I will put that on the board. You can take this down for you to better understand what is the perspective of the producer. Take this down. From producer's perspective and the customer's perspective. Take this down. Right. So we'll discuss producer's perspective. Producer, what does he do? He manufactures product. Right. You have used the word conformance. Conform, right, to the specifications. Specifications, what do you mean by the specifications? There is a specified list of qualities to a product. So, do you conform to the specifications, and particularly the cost? Particularly the cost, right? If you exceed the expected cost, what will happen? So, you can remember, so with the Porter's value chain, there was a margin, right? Primary level activities, support level activities, you spend some sort of a cost on that, and you keep a markup on that, and you sell. Margin is the profit. So here, if the cost goes up, you will have a problem of increasing the price. So then the profit will be lesser. Okay. So if the cost goes up, you have to do extensive marketing and try to get it more, the sales turnover. Okay. Right. Producer is doing the production, and his conformity is towards specification and the cost. Customers, what do they expect when it comes to quality? Quality characteristics. What are the quality characteristics? We discussed time and timeliness, completeness, courtesy, consistency, right? So we can discuss, huh? Consistency, accessibility and convenience, accuracy, and responsiveness. So those are the quality characteristics expected by the customer. That is his perspective. What are the quality characteristics? Okay. Next one is the price. So see how it becomes two opposite dimensions, right, for both producer and the customer. Cost becomes here price for somebody else. This is customer's cost. This is producer's cost. So this price becomes sales for producer. So the price is anyway more than the cost. Who will ultimately pay the who will ultimately benefit the producer? It is the customer by his price. Okay, price consists of cost plus the profit. Cost plus profit. Cost plus profit. Okay. So ultimately, so how you can improve the sales is by marketing. How you can conform to the product's standards and fulfill this part. So this process is production. Producer's process is production. To touch the customer's perspective, the business organization uses the marketing. Okay, so this is a very clear format of the meaning of quality from both producer's perspective and customer's perspective. Right. Now we are going to talk about another new topic. Now we know what is quality according to the American Standard of Quality Society for Quality, ASQ. We discussed about what is quality under two categories: characteristics of the product, and we also discussed something as what's that? Free of deficiencies. Okay, and thereafter we discussed about quality dimensions, right? And then we discussed characteristics of quality dimensions for services. Okay, so earlier quality dimensions for product, quality dimensions for services, and we discussed two perspectives: producer's perspective and the customer's perspective. So lastly, we are discussing about when it comes to quality, something new. This term you would have heard: total quality management, TQM, total quality management. Right, total quality management. Right, so then you will get some sort of a slight idea. Quality is partially delivered. Total quality. What do you mean by that? Total quality management. Can that exist? Right, we try to provide maximum quality. Right, if you buy a motorbike, producer has tried to put the maximum quality. That is total quality. What else you can add to the production of motorbikes as quality? We will have that question. Okay. So total quality management, take down total quality management. TQM, so the topic is total quality management. TQM has been the most prominent and visible approach to quality. Has been the most prominent and visible approach to quality to evolve from the work of Deming, D-E-M-I-N-G, Edward Deming, and the early quality gurus. Most prominent and visible approach to quality. Evolve from, what do you mean by evolve? So we have been existing only on, we were very good residents of Edward Deming's quality perspectives. Edward Deming talk about quality perspectives. That is not here and that is not part of your syllabus. So in order to evolve from that, Edward Deming's quality perspectives, in order to evolve from that, right, so TQM has been the most prominent and visible approach to quality. Okay. Actually, this is originated in 1980s as a Japanese management style approach to quality management, and it became very popular during the 1990s. Actually, TQM became very popular in 1990, being adopted by thousands of companies. Actually, it originated from Japan, so then it went across the world. Right. It was a philosophy for managing. Shall we take this down? TQM was a philosophy for managing an organization centered TQM was a philosophy for managing an organization centered on quality and customer satisfaction. On quality and customer satisfaction. As the strategy for achieving long-term success. Underline that. Right. As the strategy for achieving long-term success. Right. You can now make a product and sell, and you can close down the business. But so TQM helps. Right. Long-term success. So take down. It requires. What do you mean by it? TQM. It requires active involvement. It requires active involvement comma participation, active involvement comma participation and cooperation of everyone, cooperation of everyone in the organization, right. Next sentence, it encompasses virtually, virtually, virtually all of its activities and processes. All of its activities and processes. All of its activities and processes. Right. Take down. There are 8 principles of examiner has tested you in the past papers. There are 8 principles of TQM. 8 principles of TQM. There are 8 principles of TQM. Right. We will take down the 8 principles of TQM quickly. Right. So there are 8 TQM. So here the examiner says it has evolved from Devin's work on total quality management, and Devin has pointed out 14 points and philosophies and teachings of the early, so actually from quality gurus for organizations, and we have taken 14 principles of Edward Deming and philosophies and embodied into 8 principles of TQM. Number 1, quality can and must be managed. Quality can and must be managed. Quality can and must be managed. Quality can be managed and must be managed. That is a principle. Every time you should take every possible effort to manage quality, and you must manage. Number two, who defines the cost? Actually, who defines the quality? Is it the producer defines quality? No. Take down with a different color. The customer defines the quality. Customer defines the quality. Customer defines the quality. Come on. And customer satisfaction is the top goal. And customer satisfaction is the top goal. Customer satisfaction is the top goal. Right. And continue. It is a requirement. It is a requirement. It is a requirement and not negotiable. You can't negotiate. So, I will give you a quality to this much or that much. It is a requirement. You can't say why your pair of trousers, one leg is missing. You can't negotiate. You pay half the price and I gave you only one leg. You can't say that. You can't compromise. And you can't, negotiate. Okay? Next point, point number 3. Management must be involved and provide leadership. Management must be involved and provide leadership. We are talking about the 8 principles of quality. Management must be involved and provide leadership. Next one, number 4. Continuous quality improvement is as the strategic goal. Continuous improvement is as the strategic goal. Continuous quality improvement is as the strategic goal. Which requires planning and organization. Which requires planning and organization. Which requires planning and organization. Number 5. Quality improvement is the responsibility of every employee. Quality improvement is the responsibility of every employee. Semicolon. All employees must be trained and educated to achieve quality improvements. All employees must be trained and educated to achieve quality improvements. Next one, number 6. Quality problems are found in the process. Quality problems are found in the process. And problem must be prevented, not solved. There can never be any quality problem with the product. It must be prevented, not solved. If you have a quality problem, if your service provider, manufacturer tries to solve it, it is a great deficiency from his side. Quality problem must be prevented, not solved. Number 7. The quality standard is no defects. The quality standard. The world's best one and only quality standard is no defects. No defects. Zero defects. For example, when you use pair of slippers bought from Bata, if the print, right, so it says Bata, the price is 499 cents 90, right? If there's a slight print problem, print quality problem, so it is not a quality product. It has a defect. So we must have heard textile manufacturing companies, they are following the zero defects concept. Polo t-shirt manufactured would be very expensive, but if there's a single defect observed, it will be removed from the production process. It will not be dispatched. It will not go to the customer's hands. How much ever it looks perfect, but there's a defect. Quality principle number 8. The quality must be measured. Quality must be measured. Come on. Quality. Importance requires the use of quality tools and especially statistical process control. That is how it is measured, right? Quality must be measured, semicolon. Importance requires the use of quality tools and especially statistical process control. Right. So we've just discussed about the 8 principles of total quality management, and examiner will test you this and test you at the exam. This is very important. Now we are going to talk about 5Ss. We are going to talk about 5Ss system. 5Ss. What do you mean by 5Ss? Take this down. 5Ss. Take down under 5Ss. 5Ss is a system to reduce waste and 5Ss is a system to reduce waste and optimize productivity through maintaining an orderly workplace. Productivity through maintaining an orderly workplace. And using visual cues, CUES, and using visual cues to achieve more consistent operational results. Right. The implementation of this method, the implementation of this method organizes the workplace, organizes the workplace and cleans up, and cleans up. And cleans up. Okay, so we'll look at the first principle. Sort. Sort. We call that in Japanese seiri. Sort. What do you mean by sort? So, take for example, your bedroom. The stuff and the things in the bedroom, is it sorted? Right? Nicely sorted? So, which part is, this belongs to that, that belongs to this, sorted. Next one, set in order. We call it Satan. Right, set in order. Okay, you sorted and set in order. Right, so things are everywhere. You sort, okay, and set in order. You can go to YouTube and watch how 5S system is used in Japan for manufacturing organizations. Set in order. Next is seiso. In other words, shine. What do you mean by shine? Clean it. Sort, set in order, clean. Right? So things kept with dirt is not seiso, clean. Right. Next one is seiketsu, standardize. Standardize. You have to bring your products to the standards. Right? You might be using some outdated software, outdated things. Standardize. Standardize. Very important. Standardize. And sustain. Sustain. Shitsuke, sustain. So, sustain, what do you mean by sustain? Once you sort, set in order, shine, standardize, no point if you don't sustain. Sustain in the sense, keep it for a long time. Keep it. Sustain. Right. Take down. A typical 5S implementation. A typical 5S implementation would result in significant reductions a typical 5S implementation would result in significant reductions in the square footage, example, in the square footage of space needed for existing operations. Square footage of space needed for existing operations. A typical 5S implementation would result in significant reduction in the square footage of space needed for existing operations. It would also result in the organization of tools and materials into labeled and color coded storage locations. Into labeled and color coded storage locations. as well as kits. It's a word used, kits, K-I-T-S, within inverted commas. Put that word, kits, as well as kits that contain just what is needed, to perform a task. To perform a task. To perform a task. To perform a task. Okay. I will also give you homework. Okay. We are going to talk about lean management. L-E-A-N, lean management. So you have to watch, because we cannot show you what lean management is by just delivering a lecture. Right? So lean management is a nice philosophy, and you may watch lean management YouTube video and prepare a nice note on that, and prepare that and make it available with your books, and once the classes start, I will check. A note on lean management. Examples, what is lean management? Write the topic lean management and find what is lean management from YouTube and make a small note, kind of paragraph, and with examples. Because it cannot be just explained by just a mere delivery of a lecture. Okay. Right. So 5S system is the foundation to lean management. 5S system is the foundation to lean management. Next topic, inventory management. Inventory management. Inventory management. Right. We slightly discussed about inventory with Porter's 5 forces model. Hope you can remember. Inbound logistics, we discussed about the inventory. Inbound logistics. Okay. So, inventory, right, we'll take down what is the objective of inventory. Why do you need inventory? Take down the objective of inventory management. The objective of inventory management has been to keep enough inventories. The objective of inventory management has been to keep enough inventories to meet customer demand. To meet customer demand, and also be cost effective. traditionally, traditionally, companies maintained generous inventory levels. What do you mean by that? So when you go back to the history, and the businesses, they kept enough number of stocks, generous stocks levels, generous inventory levels to meet long-term customer demand. Levels to meet long-term customer demand. Because there were fewer competitors, there were fewer competitors and products in a sheltered market environment. Sheltered, in a sheltered, small area, in a sheltered market environment, right, providers were very few. Providers were very few, but the market is huge. Market is huge. So they tried to keep huge amount of stocks, inventories, to give out whenever their products are necessary. Huge market. This is the market. Market. Okay, take down. Traditionally, companies maintain generous inventory levels to meet long-term customer demand because there were fewer, F-E-W-E-R, fewer competitors and products in a sheltered market environment. Okay? Right. So this is where the inventory management in the current trend is important. Okay? Take down in a new paragraph. In the current global business environment, with more competitors, this is the current global environment. So many competitors, current global environment. Okay, the competitors are growing more than the speed of the market growing. In the current global business environment, with more competitors and highly diverse markets, and highly diverse markets, in which new products and new product features are, new product features are rapidly and continually introduced. Rapidly and continually introduced. Rapidly and continually introduced. Right. The cost of inventory, another sentence, the cost of inventory has increased, the cost of inventory has increased due in part to quicker product obsolescence. and continually introduced, the cost of inventory has increased due in part to quicker product obsolescence. Obsolescence. Right. Quicker product obsolescence. What do you mean by that? Right. So, inventory cost has increased because quicker product obsolescence. Products become obsolete, outdated. Very soon, the products become outdated. Because new versions, new products, new features are introduced to the market at a very rapid stage where the seller keeps higher level of, or the producer keeps high level of inventories, they are exposed to a huge loss. So for example, we will take this inventory control of Vesak lanterns, manufacturers of Vesak lanterns this time. Normally, what they do is, during the Vesak season, do you think that they make Vesak lanterns and buckets, all those things in May? No. Soon after last year's Vesak festival, they started manufacturing Vesak lanterns. Throughout the year, they keep a huge stock of Vesak lanterns. So well before the coronavirus endemic, right? So what would have happened to these business people? They have a huge amount of Vesak lanterns in warehouses, cannot be sold. It's a huge cost. Ultimately, they might lead to an unbearable loss because they have made these Vesak lanterns owing to a bank. So they have got loans from the bank and made Vesak lanterns, but they can't pay out the loans. Okay. So take down. At the same time, companies are continually seeking. At the same time, companies are continually seeking to lower cost. LOVER, lower costs. So they can provide a better product at a lower price. Lower cost, so they can provide a better product at a lower price. Right. Right. So, take down elements of inventory management. Elements of inventory management. Small topic. Elements of inventory management. Elements of inventory management. Right. Elements of inventory management. Take down raw materials, one after the other. Raw materials, purchased parts and supplies, raw materials, purchased parts and supplies. Next one, work in progress, halfly done products, work in progress, and items being transported, tools and equipments, are the, so items, tools and equipment are the forms of inventory are the forms of inventory besides finished goods? Besides finished goods. Say, what do you mean by that? Other than finished goods, these are the forms of inventory. Right? We think that finished goods only are there in the inventory. No. Work in progress. So many things are there. Finished goods is just a part. Okay. Besides finished goods. Right. Next topic, inventory costs. Stock carrying cost, number one. Carrying cost, in other words, stock carrying cost. Right. Inventory costs. Subheading. There are three types of inventory costs: stock carrying cost, ordering cost, shortage cost. We will check down under stock carrying cost, and inventory management for your syllabus. So we have to discuss about the types of inventories, and also we have to discuss about the types of inventories and types of inventory cost. The first is the types of inventory cost, stock carrying cost. Take down. Carrying costs are the costs of holding items in inventory. Carrying costs are the costs of holding items in inventory. Right. Take down. These costs vary, VARY, with the level of inventory. With the level of inventory in stock. These costs vary with the level of inventory in stock, and occasionally with the length of time, an item is held. That is, the greater level of inventory over a period, the higher the carrying costs. You didn't understand this. Okay. So, right. So, if you keep a stock for a longer period with you, so you have to pay a rent for the warehouse, and stocks kept there will start depreciating, and heat, cooling, lighting, security, refrigeration, taxes, insurance, bank interest, everything has to be paid, and those will amount to cost. Okay. So these are important components of stock carrying cost. And material handling, when a material is taken from one place to another, material handling, so labor cost has to bear and has to be borne, and labor, record keeping, you have to maintain a record, and borrowing to purchase inventory, okay, from the banks, And product deterioration, products would deteriorate, shrink. And spoilage, breakage, obsolescence, pilferage, these things might happen the longer you keep the stocks with you. Okay, so this time is the exact example for that. 2 months, for example, think about people bought eggs, people bought dairy products. 2 months they were not used. I mean, the grocers, all stock carrying cost. They would have faced a huge stock carrying cost. Nobody buys, people can't come, curfew imposed. Okay, so carrying costs are normally specified in 1 or 2 ways. The usual way is to assign total carrying cost, right? So it's simple. Stock carrying cost, longer the time you keep stock carrying cost stocks with you, more will be the cost. Okay, ordering cost, take down ordering cost. Right, put a dash and write, are the costs associated with replenishing the stock of inventory being held. Replenishing the stock of inventory being held. You replenish. Ordering cost. Okay, we'll assume you have 1000 kilos of chicken, right? So you dispatch 500 kilos of chicken, right? And again, within next 2 days, another 200 kilos of chicken was sold. A customer comes to you asking for 500 kilos of chicken. You don't have, you have only 300 kilos of chicken remaining with you. So then what would you do is, you will run here and there and try to order chicken from close suppliers. Again, you will have to incur a cost, right? That is a cost. And so you will have to fill up the stock. Usually you maintain 1000 kilos of chicken, so it reduced to 300 kilos of chicken. You have to replenish by 700 kilos of chicken. What is the method you use? So do you wait until the last kilo of chicken is sold, or you keep a margin level where from this point, when it reaches this point, we will replenish the stock? Okay, so when we learn about the inventory methods, we will learn about that. There are ABC method and periodic system, continuous inventory system, economic quantity models. These things, when we learn these things next week, you will. Right. So right, and ordering costs include, take down, ordering costs include requisition UISSITION, requisition, and purchase orders, transportation and shipping, receiving, inspection, handling, and accounting and auditing costs. When you replenish, these costs will have to be borne. Ordering costs. Right. What will happen? So we'll assume you are ready to provide when it is required. When the customer comes and wholesale customer comes and asks for more stocks. When somebody wants 100 kilos of chicken, you will go and do transportation and buy and sell. So it costs you again another 50 kilos of chicken, you again go and come. So sometimes there is a fixed cost involved. Transportation for 500 kilos, transportation to 100 kilos, transportation to 50 kilos of chicken is the same. More the moves, right, more will be the cost. That is stock ordering cost. Okay. In general, take down. In general, take down. In general, ordering larger amounts result. In general, ordering larger amounts results. In general, ordering larger amounts results in higher inventory levels and higher carrying costs. In other words, as the order size increases, ordering costs decrease and carrying costs increase. Did you get that? In other words, as the order size increases, when you order more, ordering cost decreases. Because even for 500 kilos of chicken, the same shipment, same transportation cost, but stock carrying cost increases. You have to bring them and keep at a one place, and you have to provide the security and everything, rent, refrigerators. So stock carrying cost increases. Okay. Next one, the last stock, shortage costs. Shortage cost. Shortage cost. We will take down the last one. What do you mean by shortage cost? Right. Write this term stock out. S-T-O-C-K. Stock out with a different pencil or pen. Different color. Stock out is another term for this. Stock out is another term for this. Right, take down. This occurs when a customer demand cannot be met. This occurs when a customer demand cannot be met because of insufficient inventory. Right? What was the example we discussed? We used to keep 5,000 kilos of chicken, right? And ordering cost, inventory cost, we discussed. Stock out is, okay, you have insufficient inventory. People make an order, customers make an order, 700 kilos of chicken, but you have only 300 kilos of chicken. What would happen then? Okay. Take down. If these shortages result in, a permanent loss of sales, because you don't have 700 kilos of chicken, right? Either customer might go to another provider, or else customer might buy the remaining 500 stock, and the rest 400 will buy it from another place. Okay. Yeah. So if these shortages result in a permanent loss of sales, shortage cost includes the loss of profit. Shortage cost includes the loss of profits. The shortage cost includes the loss of profits, right? If you had that additional 400 kilos of chicken, you could have sold it to the wholesale trader, or you could have earned a better profit, but you could not. Includes loss of profit. Last sentence, the last sentence. Shortages can also cause customer dissatisfaction. Underline that. Shortages can also cause customer dissatisfaction. And a loss of goodwill, right? People will not recommend you again. Don't go to that person, he doesn't have enough stock. Loss of goodwill that can result in a permanent loss of customers. Loss of goodwill, customer dissatisfaction, and a loss of goodwill that can result in a permanent loss of customers and future sales. All right. Okay, that's all about inventory costs. We discussed about the inventory costs. There's another part, the types of inventory methods. We will discuss that next week. So I suppose you would have understood this context, and also you will also be provided with a handout by IAS, and you can go through that and understand better. Right. And I will also give you an overview what we will discuss next week. Inventory control systems. There has been a question from that. Question number 3B, January 2016. That is from inventory control systems. We will also discuss continuous inventory systems. You can search that from YouTube. And periodic inventory systems, and the ABC classification system. Finally, economic order quantity methods. Right. All the best, students. We'll meet up next week.